poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Mike Gomes. Today we're gonna go over what Mike would do if Mike only had $1,000 and he wanted to start a real estate business. But before we do that, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification. Let's get into it. So here's the thing: with $1,000, you can get a lot of shit accomplished if you got some grind. Because there's two things you got. You can always give either your time or you have money. Okay. And in this situation, if you have $1,000, you most likely have some time on your hands. So I'm going to go over exactly what I would do with my time if I had $1,000 to spend on a real estate business. And let's get into it. So there are so many different things that you could do to start out in real estate. I'm just giving you the blueprint of exactly what I would do that fits my personality. And I'll explain exactly why I would do what I'm about to tell you guys. So I would do something called Drive for Dollars. Okay. What driving for dollars is, it's essentially going out and literally driving in your car and looking at the properties that need some love, because these properties that need some love are typically the properties that have some distress, like there's some sort of problem going on. If the shutter's all messed up and the siding's all messed up, most likely they have some financial problems as well, or something else is going on in that property that could cause them to want to sell their property. So you're going out and you're looking for problems to solve. Essentially, you're looking for repairs. You're looking for maybe dumpsters in the yard or something like that. You're looking for maybe like a notice on the door that says foreclosure or something like that. You're looking for anything that could cause them to want to sell their property, any sort of pain. But there's two different ways, especially now in 2022 going into 2023, that you could drive for dollars. Before we had all this technology, the only thing you could do is go out literally in the streets and drive, or even ride a bike or walk, right? Like that's all we could do before we had all this technology. But now we can literally do this from the comfort of our home. What I would do if I was just starting out and I had $1,000 is I would do both, because I get bored really quick. I get bored in the sense of like, dude, I can't only just do this virtually for hours and hours on end. It would drive me nuts. I can't only just drive in the car all day. It would just drive me nuts. I got to switch it up. So what I would do is I would, let's call this virtually, and we'll call this out in the streets. Okay. There's two different softwares that you can use for this. So what you're going to do, right, is you're going to look for all these addresses. We'll look for all these houses that have distress, and then you're going to add these addresses to a list. And then you're going to call and text them later, and I'll go over that. But if you're doing this virtually, like you're going on Google Maps and hitting. So when you do it virtually, here's what you do. You pretty much go on something like Google Maps, and you're literally out in the streets, like virtually, and you'll click on a house, and then you'll press a button, and then that house the address will be added into your system on a list, and then you'll cold call and text it later. Now, if you're out in the streets, there's another software you could do. It's like a GPS. You literally have like a GPS on your phone, and once you drive by a property, you hit that property's address, and then boom, it gets put into your system, and you'll cold call and text them later. So if you're virtually doing it, the best app to use is Batch Driven. If you're out in the streets doing it, the best app to use is Deal Machine. Okay. So like I said, I would spend my $1,000 on both because I couldn't do just one. It would drive me nuts. So then what you would do from here is, now that you spend out, and I would probably spend about maybe 3 hours a day doing this. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to do some data management. And what does this mean? All this data that you just pulled from doing this, you got to do something called skip trace, which means get all their contact information. You got to put it through a system where you can get their phone number and emails and all that type of stuff. So you're going to skip trace it. Then you're going to put it into your dialer or your text platform. This is where you're going to actually call these people. For my team, I use Batch Dialer. For the dialer, and Batch leads.io for the text. Okay. So all that's going to happen is you're going to get all the properties that you just drove for dollars for. You're going to skip trace them, get all their information, then put them in this system. What the dialer is, it's essentially putting all the data into like a spreadsheet type of thing. Then you're going to press a button and literally it's just going to call them. It's going to call every single person. Same thing with batch leads. You're going to put it into some sort of list, and then you're going to press a button. And with each button that you press, it's going to send them a text. Okay. And I would, well, first off, your data management, maybe this takes about like an hour. Shouldn't take too long to do all that. And then I would do this. The texting and being on the dialer, I would do that for probably about another 3 hours, because this is where you're going to generate the leads. These conversations, I would not stay on the phone long, because this is your time to generate as much leads as possible. You want to get through this list. Like, you want to hammer this list up here. So you want to have these conversations be like 2 to 3 minutes long. And all you're doing is figuring out if somebody has interest in selling. And then what you're going to do is you're going to end up having a pool of leads, right? Like, call this the pool of leads. And you're going to follow up and go on appointments with these leads every single day. So this is what your schedule would look like for like 90 days straight if all you have was $1,000. And you will land a deal if you did this every single day. 1,000%, I promise. You just have to be consistent. So your follow-up and your appointments, maybe this takes, and as you generate more leads, this gets longer, right? And then that kind of tells you, once you land a deal, that you got to outsource this stuff ASAP, which I would do as soon as possible. But this would probably take you in the beginning, maybe, 1 hour or two. And boom, you're just going to keep hammering this stuff. And what's going to end up happening is one of these appointments is going to land to a contract. And then you reach out to another dispo wholesaler or a realtor or somebody that knows what the heck they're doing to sell this contract. Or even before you get the contract, you bring in somebody that knows what they're doing to get the contract, like to talk to the seller and negotiate the price. And that's when you get paid, when this contract is sold to a buyer. So you're going to call all these people, right, that you're calling and driving for dollars for, these are motivated sellers. You're going to get somebody under contract. Let's just say you get them under contract at $100,000. Hey, Mrs. Seller, I'm going to give you $100,000 for your property. So whether you do the negotiations or you find somebody that knows what the heck to do and to do them, you get them under contract at $100,000, and then you find a fix and flipper or a buy and hold investor to buy buy this contract from you for maybe $20K or whatever they would pay for that property. And this is the money that you make. So boom, how to start a business with only $1,000. Okay, so somebody DM'd me and was like, Mike, what would you do if you only had $1,000 and you wanted to start making money in real estate today? And I'm like, dude, I would go out and freaking hammer this, driving for dollars, crazy blueprint that I just gave out. Definitely. So this is like some action steps that you can go and take and make money if you really don't have much money to set aside for a budget for like virtual assistants and stuff like that. Now, with that being said, this is going to sound contradictory. Like, for me, before I went and tried starting a business for $1,000, I actually would try to save up a little bit more money. I would try to save up a little bit more money so that I could afford a virtual assistant to do a lot of this stuff for me, just because I know just my personality type, like me cold calling and texting, it just wouldn't work out. I would be on the dialer for like 3 hours and I'd be like, all right, dang, this is too tedious, right? That's why I showed you guys over there that I would have to switch it up, like virtually driving for dollars, regularly driving for dollars. Like I'd have to switch up my days just because that's who I am as a person. So one thing is, before you start any business, I would definitely look and see what your personality type is. What are you okay with doing? Okay. What do just know yourself. If you know yourself, you're going to know what you can take action on. But if you have $1,000 and you're like, yo, I really want to grind this shit out and make some money and start doing deals, this is a blueprint that I promise you will make money in the first 90 days. You will end up getting a contract in the first 90 days. I promise, as long as you work the blueprint. Okay. So I hope this brought y'all some value. If it did, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification. I'm going to see y'all in the next one.